Well, once again, hello everyone. Welcome to Spinal Network's podcast series. And today is a very special day and a very, very important topic. And we'll get into that in just a second. I'm Rick Hayden. I'm the executive director, and I'm a soon to be, it's tough to say this, soon to be 67-year-old male, white male, spinal cord injury, wheelchair user since 1976. I have a gray shirt on. There's a white background. Oh, I did it. I'm wearing glasses. And as much as I would like to say that I've got this full head of hair, actually, I'd like to say I had this afro, but since I don't have any hair. I have more hair, I think, on my face right now than I do on the top of my head. The background is a white background. It says Spinal Network, and in between, and that's in blue. And between the L in Spinal and the N in Network, there's this orange squiggly, which I believe the graphic artist meant that to be a spinal cord. So somebody with severe scoliosis. And we have with us today, we have Lindsey, Elliott, and Michaela Devins. So Lindsey, would you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Rick. Thank you so much for having us. We're happy to be here. I'm Lindsey Elliott. I am wearing a light purple shirt. I am a Caucasian female, and my background is a pretend office setting, since I am home in my office. My role is I am the director of peer support at United Spinal Association. I have been the organization for 15 years. I have a master's in social work, and I primarily work in our peer mentoring department and our support group network, and I help in our resource center. I also help oversee our OT capstone students and a variety of other different jobs. And I'm working on the mental health initiative for the Strong Will campaign with Miss Michaela. And I will pass it over to her.
Yeah, my name is Michaela Devins. I'm a white woman who is also a quadriplegic and a power wheelchair user. I've been a C4, C5 quad for almost 12 years now. I'm sitting in my wheelchair wearing a purple sweater and in my living room, which is sort of blurred out in the background. I currently live in Cambridge, Massachusetts, although before that I was in Philadelphia for 4 years, but I'm originally from the Adirondacks in upstate New York. I got my master's in professional counseling in 2019, and I have worked in community behavioral health, in outpatient mental health counseling ever since. So first in Center City, Philly, and now in the Boston area. I also have been involved with United Spinal, first through the Greater Boston chapter. I am a peer mentor with them. I also lead a group for women with SCID. And then I am part of the Tech Access group with United Spinal, was interim director for a little while, and I've recently been working on the mental health initiative with Lindsey.
That's great. I didn't realize, Michaela, that we had the New England connection. So
Oh,
I was born and raised in Western Mass, out in Chicopee.
oh, great.
I was 31, I think, before I moved to California. So yeah, I was born and raised out there. That's where I had my accident. I rehabbed in Western Mass, and as you know, there are no spinal cord injury rehabs in Western Mass. So I didn't rehab at a spinal cord injury rehab. And yeah, and I hope that that since you're living there now, that you are a New England sports fan too.
I can't say I'm much of a sports fan, period, but I was in Philly when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and that was a pretty wild time. Those Philly fans, they're dedicated.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
New England fans are as well. So, I'm just surrounded by sports fanatics. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. And no matter where we live, we take it with us.
Yeah.
And it must be in the blood because all of my kids, and I didn't just, like, pick whatever team you like. All of my kids uh, are New England sports fans, and so it must be hereditary.
It must be.
Yeah. I had a conversation with somebody which can't remember exact. Oh, my friend Wheezy Walker from the Southeast, who is with NARTS, National Registry of Rehabilitation Technology. I know I'm not going to get it. Rehab. Well, anyway, NARTS. Look it up. And we were talking about this, and as we were talking about the pandemic, and then we were talking about mental health, and I said, really, I mean, before this pandemic even hit, I said there was the other pandemic that's been ignored for so long and pushed aside for so long, and that is the mental health pandemic. That it's really to a point where now it's, we need to recognize this. This needed to be recognized, I mean, way before now. Before now. It's so out of control, and I'm hoping that we didn't wait too long and we're able to corral this back in. And so you get folks with spinal cord injuries or spinal diagnoses, who are dealing with this whole life-changing event, and we don't know. I mean, prior they may have had some mental health issues prior, and all of a sudden there was a little shift in focus, but they're still there. And now on top of that, they have they're dealing with this whole new life. So I'm not even going to ask a question. I'm going to, you two can draw straws as to who wants to jump in first, and let's just get this thing on the roll and see where the conversation goes.
Sure.
Great. Well, I'll give a little background just so everybody's kind of up to speed on what we're doing with the Strong Will campaign here at United Spinal. And the pillar that Michaela and I are really focused on is the mental health component, but we're trying to just really elevate and educate and inform the community, that together we are strong-willed, and that we have resources and support and help for everybody out there who is needing it. Whether you're new injury or you've been injured for several years and you're coming back, significant life changes, or maybe areas of your life. And we have a lot of resources and information to help folks along the way, that we're in this journey together and that you're not alone. And we have the resources and the support to be there for you, whether you're looking for, small little bit of help or a lot of, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey, that you're welcome to come, be with us and join us. And we're here to support you in any way that we can. The Strong Willed campaign is really broken down into 3 pillars. And the pillar 1 is mental health. Pillar 2, we're focusing on fitness and athletics. Just that component of living a healthy, active life that, can be very beneficial for folks. And then the last pillar is emergency preparedness. We had a lot of really devastating tornadoes and hurricanes affect our members over the past couple of years. Tornadoes, hurricanes, you name it. I forget that event they had in Iowa. The name is escaping me. It was very odd. It was like a land hurricane. Do you guys remember that? I'm not sure. Anyway, but it was crazy, and many of our Iowan chapter folks and members were affected by that. So The emergency preparedness is a piece that we're focusing on, just so people are ready to roll, have to leave and quickly escape or get away from, their home for a natural disaster. So on our website, if you visit unitedspinal.org, you will see a Strong Wheel Together landing page that has all of this information built into it, and all of the resources within each pillar that you can access. Michaela and I specifically are working on the mental health piece, as we've said. So we are doing a bunch of different things. Michaela is writing a monthly blog, which she can tell you more about in a moment. We're focusing our mental health Monday post on Instagram. So every single Monday, we're working on posting a fact or an educational snippet of information regarding mental health and spinal cord injury. So you can follow us on Instagram and you'll see those posts every Monday. They're also highlighted in the feed. So if you've missed the past few Mondays, you can always catch back up to where we are at. And every month we're sort of shifting our focus to different areas that we know are really important, like anxiety, depression, PTSD, substance abuse, grief, chronic pain. So as we move along this journey ourselves, we're going to kind of shift gears every month and have a new focus that we will hone in on. So right now we're currently talking about anxiety and how it affects, everybody, but certainly how it may be increased after sustaining a spinal cord injury. So I don't want to continue on too much. There's a lot of other things that we're doing. We will absolutely share with you, but Michaela, I would like you to just share your blog and some of the stuff that you're doing with me too, because it's extremely awesome.
Yeah, thanks. My purpose behind the blog post, is my hope is that I can share from a perspective of someone who's sustained a spinal cord injury, someone who has dealt with their own mental health struggles and continues on that journey of mental wellness, and who also is a professional in the field. So I have these different perspectives on the same thing. And for a long time, mental health, specifically for our community, has been something that is dear to my heart and something that I feel is a gap in care. So just the opportunity to speak about my experiences and hopefully normalize it for other folks who might find themselves struggling with their mental health. And as you said, Rick, some folks struggled with their mental health before an injury, and afterward it's only exacerbated, right? Because they've been through a trauma. Their life looks different now. You're trying to navigate so many different systems, insurance, living at home, accessibility, durable medical equipment. I mean, there's so many things. So yeah, just sharing a bit of myself and hoping that other people find resonance with that and a bit of validation. So that's my hope. And I tie it in as best I can with sort of the focus of the month, like Lindsey was saying. So, for April's blog post, I talked about my own experiences with generalized anxiety disorder, what that's been like in my life and how that changed after my injury, to the point where I was having panic attacks on a almost daily basis. So just being able to speak to that and what it's like to go through that, and then continue on in that journey to becoming a mental health clinician, which, part of the reason that I'm in this field is because of my own experiences, but also wanting to help others who've been through it as well.
One thing I do want to mention to our listeners and viewers is that in the description, you'll find links. You'll find links to Michaela's blog and a link to the Instagram account that Lindsey had mentioned, to the United Spinal resource page that has all of that great, useful information, which I know I've taken some of that and put it on our website, because I figure the more places people find it, the more people will be able to benefit from it. So, so the links, you will find the links in the description.
Great. Thank you for that.
Wonderful.
You know, I've
Yeah.
been writing a little bit here, and I just want to ask these two questions, and let me ask both before, and then you can take one at a time. But if someone knows someone who they feel is sinking, I mean, for lack of a better word, sinking, and what should they do? What should the first step be? And that's question one. And the second question is, if there's a person themselves and they feel like they're beginning to spiral out of control, they're sinking, and no matter what they're trying to do, it's not stopping that from happening, and they're beginning to, just, I mean, the anxiety, the fear of losing it all, and what should they be doing, I guess. And I know it's going to be different. Not everybody is going to respond the same way, but at least in a general fashion, what on question one and two.
As far as noticing someone who is spiraling maybe, or giving off some red flags about their mental health, and that might be their behavior, it might be the things that they're saying, might be that they're tearful all the time, or sleeping too much or not enough, right? A real shift from their baseline. I would approach this person in your life and make it clear that you're coming to them in a space of non-judgment, right? You're not here to point fingers or say, what are you doing? Or, right? And come to them with compassion and say, this is what I'm noticing. Are you okay? How can I help you? Right? Like, and give that person some space for that. I think for me, before I was ready to reach out and find a therapist and engage in that work, I had my best friend, she's still my best friend. She gave me that non-judgmental space. She didn't freak out. She didn't say like, oh my God, like, she just held space for me. That's a really powerful thing, to just give someone space to say, yeah, I'm not okay, or I'm really struggling. Or even, I remember she was the only person that I told at the time that I was feeling suicidal. And she didn't freak out. She didn't judge me. She didn't tell me I was a horrible person or evil, or how could you even think of doing that to your loved ones? She just said, okay, what are we going to do about it? She gave me space to talk. And that was really powerful. Now, if someone is actively suicidal, you really want to talk about, like, maybe we need to intervene, right? But, I think just giving space can be really, really powerful, and especially non-judgmental space, because there is so much stigma around mental health. I felt a great deal of shame about not being able to just grit my teeth and get through it. I felt like that there was something wrong with me, or my faith wasn't great enough, or so that normalization of it as well, that like, it's okay, you're not the only one that feels this way. Meeting people where they're at, I think, is really, really important, because not everyone is going to be ready in that moment to go find a therapist and engage in this work. That can be a really daunting and scary process. So shoring up support, checking in on your loved ones, telling them, I've noticed this and I'm worried about you, right? I think that in and of itself can lead to opening a conversation and building up support for them. I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that, Lindsey?
No, I think that's great. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah, the mental health crisis in the country is horrendous, and it's
Hope you froze on us, Lindsay.
terrible. I mean, the
Okay.
pandemic, but even is all back there. Did I lose you?
Oh, you're back. You're there you go.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Um, could you hear me? I was just saying the mental health crisis in this country, it is awful, and it has been awful even prior to the pandemic. I mean, yes, the pandemic only exacerbated it, but certainly for this community, it's absolutely, I hate to say that it goes hand in hand, but it almost does. There's almost going to be expected that folks who are experiencing this type of trauma in their lives are going to absolutely experience some sort of mental health issue along with that. And as a society, we have to come together to know that allowing folks to be not okay is okay. And that it's normal. It's normal to have these emotions and these feelings, and there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing, you're not crazy. You're not, all the things, all the stigma, the names, the horrible words that people can say or have used in the past to label people with mental health issues. It's not okay. And Michaela and I are working really hard on this initiative to really just like she said, to normalize it and to let folks know that you're not alone, even though you may feel very alone. You're not. And if you are ready or you need to reach out for help, we are here to support you in any way that we can. But yes, to certainly reach out to your loved ones, to your family, friends, a pastor, a counselor, a neighbor, whoever it may be, a teacher. I mean, whoever you can confide in and lean on to reach out to. I mean, hopefully they will allow you to have that non-judgmental space and help you get the support that you need. And then it's okay. It's okay. Like there's nothing wrong. You're not weak. There's nothing wrong with needing that.
And it's such a pernicious kind of lie that we're told that being vulnerable about your mental health, being in a space where you need help is weakness, when in reality, being able to be vulnerable about these things takes incredible strength. It really does. I've seen it over and over and over again with my clients and I'll even tell them sometimes, especially if they've had a difficult time getting to therapy in the first place, I'm like, just the fact that you're here engaging in this very first session shows an incredible amount of resilience and strength. You have to have real grit to reach out for help. It's hard. It's really hard. And that was something I believed about myself, was that I was just weak, and then finally getting help. It was a revelation. Honestly, it was like, oh my God, I'm not weak. This takes strength. And I hope that more and more people can realize that.
Do you find people who are going through this, and I asked it, do you find people, and I know the answer already, but I guess people that are going through this, when they're searching, especially if they don't have a support system, so they begin to search out ways to cope. And I'm saying this because this was in my own household when I was growing up. It's my dad, which, we find out, gosh, so many years later, who was manic depressive and he just didn't know. And it was the whole thing, not wanting to feel weak and admitting this to anybody. So just internalizing it and trying to, deal and cope with it on his own. So, how do you cope? Well, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's drugs, maybe it's both.
Yeah, it can lead to some really maladaptive coping
Yeah.
mechanisms for sure.
Yeah.
Because to survive, people find coping skills, right? And they may be healthy or unhealthy. They may be adaptive or maladaptive. So I see that a lot, people that come to therapy and they've developed a lot of unhealthy coping skills in order to survive. And I certainly would never judge anyone for doing what they need to do to survive. And then the question is, okay, how do we begin to replace these things with some coping skills and support systems that are going to be healthy and adaptive for you? Identifying those things, building them up, shoring up, different means of support around a person. That's a big part of the work. I think peer support can be part of that. Faith can be part of that. Mental health counseling. I like to think of it as a pie, and hopefully you have lots of different wedges, that are part of that pie. You don't ever want one thing to be your whole pie, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to work for anybody.
Yeah.
So that's where something like the peer support network and the, in United Spinal can be really helpful, because that can be a beginning point for a lot of folks. I think faith is an incredibly powerful source of support and coping for a lot of people. But ideally there's multiple pieces to that pie.
Our community, the paralysis community, are always seeking acceptance and wanting to fit in. And as time's gone on, and a lot of the attitudinal barriers have been, torn down, and that integration is far more prevalent, I guess, in at least our country. But the thing that really stands out, and that was no pun intended, but stands out, is we have a community within our community that's not really being accepted, and that's the LGBT community within the paralysis community. And I have friends that are part of that community, and they're not being accepted by their own paralysis community. So here we are as a community wanting to be accepted, and yet we're excluding people, who are part of our community. I know I'm using a lot of community, but that's
we are a community, whether or not we want to be part of it, right? You have an injury or you're born with a disability, and bam, you're part of that community. And just because you're disabled doesn't mean that you're not sexist or racist or homophobic, right? And also the intersection of those identities can really sort of doubly or triply put someone at risk for mental health problems, right? So if you're experiencing discrimination and oppression from multiple different angles, it's going to be that much harder.
It's there's no answer to that one, because people will talk about people's behaviors, and I'll sit there and go, if this person was this type of person before, if they were a jerk before, and they had this accident, doesn't mean that it goes away.
Disability doesn't make you a saint, right?
If you're the type of person you were then, you're still that type of person.
It doesn't automatically confer sainthood, that's for sure.
And then if people change, well, they probably would have changed before, maybe not. But the bottom line is, going through a traumatic event in your life that results in having a spinal cord injury or some spinal diagnosis.
Well, that's part of trauma, right? We know that trauma can drastically change the way people interact with the world, with themselves, with others. It changes your perspective in a lot of ways. So it's not surprising that when your whole world is shaken, that you might find that you experience depression, or that you're really angry and you're having trouble regulating your emotions, or the core of who you are is still there, but there's a lot that needs to be processed, and maybe some real genuine change comes about because of that. We call that it's post-traumatic growth, is what it's called in the literature. So sometimes a traumatic event happens to someone and they really have some incredible growth because of it. But other times that doesn't happen. And that doesn't mean that that person is lacking in some way. It just means that maybe they didn't have the same resources or supports, or maybe they didn't have these same sort of conditions that allowed this other person to grow as a result. So,
Lindsey, you mentioned earlier, and as I go through these podcasts, the last few, I've realized that as we go through this and something pops out at me, because I always struggle with, okay, what am I going to call this? I don't want to just, podcast number 12, mental health. I like to have something a little catchy. And so the last couple, I ended up going back and watching, because I said, I remember them saying something, and I would go through until I found it and go, oh, I like that. And the description. So you said something earlier that I thought, oh, what a great title this would be. And I don't think I got it quite right, but you say allowing people to be not okay is okay. Is that what you said?
That's what I said. Yeah.
So like mental health, and then allowing people, allowing people to not
To
be
not
okay.
be okay is okay.
Allowing people to not be okay.
or even it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay not be okay. And I will say, Rick, just while we're in this moment, as far as the LGBTQ community, we have really been trying to, as an initiative here at the organization, focus on, underserved populations, and LGBTQIA being one of them. We started Rolling with Pride, which is a new support group that we meet. Rolling with Pride meets once a month, every first Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern. So, anybody and everybody.
It's Rolling with Pride, and it's 1 p.m.
It
Eastern.
is the 1 p.m. Yep, every first Tuesday of the month.
Because I want to get this on. We have a community calendar, everything that's going on anywhere really, and we put it in there so people can find it.
Anybody that's looking for these groups, so we have many virtual support groups, and that is one blessing that came out of COVID. It really it was the catalyst for many of our in-person groups to go virtual, and then they've remained virtual. So we have our Thursday social hours, which obviously, Rick, you attend quite regularly as well. We hold those every Thursday, 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of fun, and it's no pressure. There's not a support group. It's a come and chit chat with us. Let's talk about the day, the week, the weather, whatever it may be. It's very laid back, and it's a lot of fun. It breaks up the day. If you have some time in your day, you want to pop in and say hello to us. We always are looking for new folks to come join us, and anybody is welcome. There is a whole plethora of other groups that we have on the website. If you go to our events tab at the top of the website, you'll see some calendar of events, and you'll load more of them, and you'll just see a lot of ongoing weekly or monthly support group meetings happening for all different folks. New injuries, just for men, just for women, LGBTQ, QIA groups. We have caregiver groups. Just to name a few. There's lots of really good events happening, and some of them are ran out of our work, so we don't host them all. Organization, our chapters are hosting them. Like our Boston chapter has several of these groups. Michaela's running one. That they're doing a phenomenal job at running those groups, and so we are constantly shifting folks to attend. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. They're already well established, well attended, and there's no reason to create a new one. But we're also always looking to expand that menu of groups, and hopefully in this year or even next year, we will be able to offer a few more. We were talking about even an aging group for folks who are aging with spinal cord injury as new issues arise and new things come up. And think, for a long time, it's been status quo and it's been okay. And then boom, things start to change again. And so
Oh
you
my gosh,
experience
yeah.
a new shift. And so I think that's another need. And as these needs grow and come out of the feedback from our members, we will absolutely try to make these groups happen.
I need to
And
go
actually,
to
a
that.
personal story about some of these support groups is I moved with my husband from Philly to Cambridge in June of 2020, which was a very difficult time to move. And I felt really isolated. I had to leave my job. I was unemployed for a little while, and I felt just really, the transition was really difficult. And I was experiencing a depressive episode as a result and some increased anxiety. And so I was like, I need to reach out. I need to find a therapist. I need to get some support here. And so I found the Greater Boston chapter and started attending a number of their groups, specifically the sort of general group every Thursday at 4. And we have folks that dial in, like Lindsey, like you said, like from all over. But it really was like an immediate sense of community. And it was a lifeline for me in that transitional period before I got my wheels back under me, so to speak. And I love being involved with that chapter, even though, in the interim, I've been working, things are opening up more, right? Like I've got a lot going on, but I still that was a huge piece for me in being able to sort of have some immediate community, connect with folks, have a place to talk about what I was going through, to get resources, to find out fun things to do in Boston, just anything and everything. So that's, that was part of rebuilding my pie of support back up, to go back to that. It was a really important piece and continues to be.
And even though I moved before, and I was really never involved with the group, but if you grew up in New England, you're forever a New Englander, and I'm just so proud of that group. And I tell people all the time, that's the group. You want to build your chapter. Look at the Greater Boston chapter, and Heidi and Heather and just all the folks that are involved, with that group, and they've done just such wonderful work and I'm glad you found them.
Me too.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to, I'm not shutting everybody down, but I just, want to see if there was anything else in case I decide to shut us down. No.
I will make one more plug for us and our initiative. Michaela and I are planning a mental health presentation in May for Mental Health Awareness Month. And we have decided to title this presentation A Candid Conversation from Both Sides of the Chair. So all of our presenters will be both women and men living with spinal cord injury, living with mobility disability, but also mental health professionals. So they have the professional and personal experience from both sides. And we're really looking forward to that presentation. So that will be held May 12th, Thursday, May 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern.
I'd like to be able to share that. I can put that into our May newsletter. So before I send that, I will get all the information and the link.
Yes. And all of that will be on the Strong Wheels web landing page on the website, Rick. So that the link for that presentation, people can register there, so you can sign up for it. And obviously you can grab it from that website and then share it in your newsletter and on your website.
And I just want to highlight too, like the work that Lindsey has done for forever, just with the peer support networks, and also the like the resource center, which, you know, I think really early on after injury, such a big part of supporting people and helping people get to a place where they can focus on their mental health is getting that initial support and figuring out, what are my resources? Where do I find a shower chair? Really getting your basic needs met, right? So I just am really thankful to Lindsey and the folks, you know, at United Spinal for doing that work, because it's really hard to focus on mental health when you don't have really the very basics that you need to be able to live your daily life. So,
And, you know, and unlike, I mean, when I was in rehab, I mean, I had 3 months of rehab, you know, and did I need 3 months? Well, no, probably not. But I mean, that's kind of where things are at. And if you were a higher level injury, I mean, you know, sometimes you had upwards to 6 months. So you had your equipment before you left. They wouldn't let you out if you didn't have your equipment. Now that they're tossing you out with whatever loaner, you know, they can find to put underneath you, and you're going home with not only without the proper equipment, but you haven't been properly trained on how to work your new body, you know. Really, I mean, I mean, I'm constantly talking to people, and that's the issue. And you know, and there's not a lot at that point other than to connect them, you know, with a peer mentor that's you know, right in that same situation with regards to level of injury and age and things like that, so that they can talk shop, you know, and person will listen because, well, that person's just like me, and you know, they've been through it, so that's where I'm going to learn these things. So it's the importance of the entire peer program. I mean, beginning with peer mentoring and moving to peer support groups. And it's interesting with ours because Richard Green from Sharp Rehab in San Diego was doing the first and third Monday. Well, he just recently retired after 42 years, and having started the men's spinal cord injury support group 25 years ago. So he's on our executive committee and involved, but Spinal Network, we were doing the second and fourth Monday. We decided, well, let's just do the first 4 Mondays. I mean, we were there anyway. We were there supporting them, and then we were doing ours. So we were involved, you know, the first 4 Mondays anyway. So, you know, and if we get one person, then we get one person. It's not about numbers anymore. It's about just being there. And, but, you know, people kind of would shy away from, support group. I don't need a support group. So we call it a Monday hangout, you know, and now Monday hangout. It's amazing how many people show up that wouldn't show up if it was called a support group. So
right,
yeah. I don't care what.
Yeah, the name is important.
Yeah.
I think I think it can. Yeah. We have. That's wonderful.
For a while we were doing, and we're going to bring it back, but we would pick one Friday of the month, the third Friday or something, at like 5:30, and we did a thing called Critters and Cocktails. You know, so you know, so you could have your critter with you, or you know, some of us would just have our critter, you know, on our like this, you know.
Oh
yeah.
You know, there's my critters. There's my critters, and you know, and then you know, the cocktail can be whatever it is that you would like. It could be water. We don't really care what it is, and it was just we've been through the week, and it's time just to, you know, put your feet up, you know, and just kick back, relax, chill, and there was no agenda. we got there and you talked about your week. You didn't talk about your week. You talked about whatever. Maybe you talked about what was on the books for the weekend. It was just one of those things where, it was just sometimes just needed for people to get on and just take a deep breath and just.
It's holding space in a way, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
For whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I do want to say, kind of back to your original two questions, that if you yourself are struggling with your mental health, I just really encourage you to reach out in whatever way feels safest and most comfortable for you, whether that's, like Lindsey mentioned, like a pastor or a clergy member, or your best friend, or finding a therapist, or getting set up with a peer mentor or a support group or anything. Reach out to someone somehow. I promise you won't regret it.
yeah, when Lindsey, when you came out and did the peer mentor training, which is fabulous, by the way, and that's another reason why I gave the Las Vegas chapter leader your name to maybe schedule a virtual right now, and maybe just prior to CLM.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but yeah, and that the piece on mental health was just, I think for everybody there was just, it was so important. Everybody grabbed something out of that and took it with them. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both. I appreciate it. I pour my heart and soul into that program, and I lean on the mentors. I mean, you have the lived experience. You are the experts of your lives, and to be able to share that journey and that story and to be that support for somebody who is newly diagnosed or newly injured, it's just an unbelievable gift that you can give somebody else. And I think, in the big scheme of things, especially spinal cord injury in general, it's a very isolating, but you're really not alone. There are so many people out there living with spinal cord injury, but being able to connect you to other folks, is the need. We have to bridge that gap and connect people. And whether we do that through peer mentoring or we do that through support groups, and now with this virtual world, I mean, it's we can connect anybody anywhere as long as you have a smartphone and internet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, which some people don't have. So it's still another problem we have to tackle, as Michaela, knows from the Tech Access piece. But if we can get a smart device in the hands or in the houses and homes of everybody living with spinal cord injury, we could all be connected, in this world today. However, and we're doing the very best that we can to make sure that people know that they're supported, and however we need to connect you. And maybe support groups aren't your thing. Maybe meeting in a group setting isn't your thing, and that's okay too. Maybe you'd rather talk one-on-one with somebody who has a similar injury, similar gender, similar age, similar marital status, whatever it may be, the demographics that you would like to be paired on with somebody else. We will do our best to do that too. So on our website, you can request a mentor, and you can be paired just one-on-one with a trained mentor in our program throughout the country. We would do our best to train you and pair you up with somebody who's close. But if we don't have a program in your state or in your area, we would absolutely pair you virtually with somebody who fits the bill and could maybe just mentor you one-on-one. And that may be support, the support that you need. So
as we've already touched on, I think that, that is a silver lining of the pandemic, is like the virtual support that's now available.
Yeah.
And again, sort of anecdotally from my own experience, I grew up in the Adirondacks in a very rural area before I ever moved to Philly or Boston. And initially after my injury, when I went home to that rural area, I was isolated. I was the only person that I knew anywhere with a spinal cord injury. And I didn't have the opportunity to connect or have that community. But if it were the same situation now with this virtual landscape, I would be able to tune into these groups and to have that support. And I think that's a really important thing that I hope people are aware of.
Yeah. I like that. It certainly is the silver lining of, we were doing face-to-face down at Sharp Rehab once a month. And we had, we'd get 20, 25 people. I mean, it was great, but we found out later as the pandemic was, kicked in and we were doing things virtually and we had new people coming on. Well, these new people, wanted to join us, but couldn't join us. Transportation, laid up with a pressure sore, whatever. So, we said, okay, when it comes time to where we meet again in person, there will also be that virtual component because we need to, we can't just leave these, these folks, I always say we want, we're supposed to be inclusive, not exclusive, regardless of, the type of disability or whether somebody can make it to a live event or not.
Yeah, I think ideally going forward, it's a mixture of both. Both have their merits and both are really important for offering access to everyone. So
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I can't thank both of you enough. This has been, and the time flew by. But
Yes, it did.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there was.
It sure did.
Oh, there was some great information shared, and like I said before, in the description you'll find links, and the more we talked, the more I wrote because there'll be lots of links going on there, but these are important. You'll be able to capture these links and have them at your disposal. Should you need them, or should you know of a person that could benefit from them as well. So
absolutely. Well, thank you for having us, Rick.
Yes,
it was a joy. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, and
I really appreciate it.
We really haven't met, so this was so nice to be able to get to know you and
you too. I recognize your name, but this was really great.
Oh, I hope it wasn't in the post office, in Cambridge or something.
There was a wanted sign.
There it is. Yeah, I'll tell you, I love Cambridge. I love Cambridge. It's one of my favorite areas in the greater Boston area. So
yeah, I'm enjoying it very much. Yeah.
So it's great. Thanks again. If both of you could just hang in there as I sign off.
Sure.
For those who are listening and those who have joined us to watch on YouTube, thank you so much for your support. And we hope that you continue to keep those links so that you can find our podcast, which there'll be new podcasts, probably 3 to 4 new podcasts per month as we're moving forward from here. So we've doubled what we started with. So thanks everybody, and make it a great week.
Thank you, Rick. Bye, Michaela.